Hello, Tom.
Hello, Dana.
How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. Doing pretty good. How about you?
I'm all right, but now that I'm seeing this on camera, my Mr. T shirt is a little more loud than I thought it was.
It is as loud as it should be. It's what Mr. T would have wanted.
Right.
He's still alive. I'm talking about him like he's dead. He's still alive. I think he would appreciate your shirt.
He would not pity this fool.
I love that your shirt encapsulates all the different phases of Mr. T. I love that it shows it's got the ring, it has him boxing, it has him sort of wrestling somebody in a weird takedown, and of course the A-Team look.
Right. It's really just a wearable biography.
He would appreciate that. It's what T would want.
Yes.
So, have you found anything new this week?
I did. I got some classifieds in, and one of my favorite characters when I was a kid got Copperhead.
He looks awesome.
He does. You know what I like about the classifieds? Like when the vintage ones, the guys with the helmets, they just look like the helmet was the head, right?
Yes.
But you can see, like, he's clearly wearing a helmet, a very, very small, tight helmet. And you can see it in his eyes that he's very uncomfortable.
I think that's why he has a breathing apparatus.
Yeah.
He's like, I can't even breathe in this. Can I have some help?
You know what? I don't like, though, that now if I were playing as a kid with this guy, now he would sound like Bane from the movie. I would want him
so you live in the swamp. I was born in it.
You adopted the swamp. I love it. I wish you were a little bit bigger, but that's okay. And then secondly, I wanted to share the best $3 that I've spent in a long time. And I found Poacher today.
That is awesome.
You know what's odd though? You and I have discussed in the past how he doesn't have the ears for an African elephant, right? But he has earrings.
Yeah, he has the little stumps.
But he has an earring. He's sans ears, but has an earring.
Yeah, I want to say, and I don't know for certain, but I'm pretty sure that the Four Horsemen sculpted Poacher, which I think is hilarious because they then went on to do the fantastic exclusive or the I don't think the elephants were part of the Mythically Designs before that, but yeah, they went on to produce like a full line of elephants that looked awesome that I used to have but had to sell, and they in fact had the big ears. So I guess they're like, we'll give him ears. Finally Poacher can have what he was meant to have.
I like him standing next to Hoof, the rhino guy, so it'll be fun.
Yes, that is a really cool sculpt. I like him.
How about you?
I have been drooling over San Diego Comic-Con exclusives because that happened last weekend.
Drooling over them on Two Guys Talking Toys.
Absolutely, on this podcast that we do. So I have been putting in my pre-orders on Hasbro Pulse because I like the way that they're handling the pre-orders for San Diego Comic-Con. I like that you can go to the show, you get a QR code, you scan it, you get first crack at whatever, and then after the show, if they have enough left over, then they open it up to everybody. So
I still have to order my Chuckles.
Yes, order your Chuckles. They had a bunch of Transformers stuff, they had a bunch of other stuff, but what I was also really focused on was Loyal Subjects is at it again with their Ninja Turtles line.
Because they are loyal.
They recently revealed Ninja Turtles that are based on the IDW comics, which is cool because I don't think anyone else has done that aside from NECA doing the Last Ronin wave. And those are IDW. But Loyal Subjects did this is gripping video right now, watching me get myself together here.
Full of suspense.
So Loyal Subjects had a convention exclusive themselves, which was all of the IDW turtles done in a kind of a black and white style.
The packaging is cool. Very Teen Titans Go.
Yes, and I like the
original Teen Titans. I remember.
See, and this is going to make it tough because I generally don't like to keep boxes, but this is this is pretty nice. And if I want to store them, they all fit in there pretty easily. But the actual figures themselves are
lay it on me. Let me see.
Really good, really well done.
Oh, I do like that.
They come with alternate heads. The Mikey, it's in the box, but the alternate head for Mikey is him smiling and winking,
that's cool.
Which is great.
I love the way those bandanas pop against the gray molds. That's fantastic.
Yeah, I like the decision to keep just that one color. These are more kind of grayscale, I suppose, like the stark black and white that NECA has been doing. But these are really good.
I prefer that over the stark black and white.
Yeah,
that's
and
fantastic.
I like that they have the angry heads have no pupils in them. The secondary heads all have a little bit more personality, so you get pupils in them, which is really cool. I have two nitpicks. Now they have been it's fun watching a company learn and figure things out. There's been a lot of bad reviews of their initial Ninja Turtles wave and a lot of like QC issues, and there's a YouTuber named Dave Wonder who opened up one of the original Michelangelo's. Yes, his channel is very good. I should link to it. Free plug for him. But he told a story of opening the original Michelangelo figure that they had produced, and it like popped in the middle, and he said there was liquid inside, which is just weird and strange.
They were like that.
Why?
What was that? What was that gum that had the goo in the middle of it?
Oh, not chiclets.
They were rectangular. Yeah,
it was like Jewel or something weird. So I was like, ugh. But I had also purchased there was a Walmart exclusive of also grayscale Ninja Turtles, but they came in a pizza box, and it was really cool. Like, Loyal Subjects has really good, really innovative ideas for what they want to offer. They may just have needed time to perfect their actual process. But this Walmart exclusive was a pizza box, and when you open the box up, the Ninja Turtles were inside, but also it's like this minor detail that really made it fun. The top of the box had like grease stains on it.
Nice.
So you always get a pizza.
It was good pizza. That was good pizza.
So like it was a cool idea, but the figures themselves, I bought that set. I set it aside, and I don't know where it is. So I have no idea what the quality of those figures are.
I hope you didn't throw it out with a pizza box.
Hopefully not, because I did once throw out a Deadpool figure that I meant to give to you.
I know, the pirate one.
But they've come a long way. These actually feel really good. I have two minor nitpicks. The first one being these are all the same height, which fine. But if you're going with IDW, they are very much different heights in the comic. Like Raph is clearly the largest one. Don's a little shorter. Mikey's the shortest. I don't know why they're all the same size. And again, just a minor
drinking his milk.
Just a minor nitpick. The ankle joints on these it's almost like they're wearing a slipper, which is also fine because like they're large, so you want them to maintain their balance. But the connection joint is not doing its job. You have a little bit of give, and it can rotate a little bit, but they're a little weird. They're a little bit of a pain to stand. So I kind of hope they work them out. They should follow. They need to go out, purchase the Ninja Turtles from the Batman Ninja Turtles crossover, and play around with those ankle joints, because you can swivel those all around, and you can get them to stand in all kinds of positions. They're great because the bottom of the ankle literally like kind of slots in like almost like a ball socket joint, and then that joint allows all this movement, and it's perfect. But that aside, that's minor. These are great. I'm looking forward to the regular colored versions of them. I hope they make more IDW characters. I want the female Ninja Turtle, Jenica, to be made. There's another version of Venus de Milo that I want made. Go for it, Loyal Subjects.
You heard it.
You got me.
Tom has spoken.
Go for it. Get it. Get all this cash from my wallet.
Tom has spoken. Account. Yeah.
Because I'm already going to buy another set of these. I've already got the other San Diego exclusive is just these with a black wash. I'm going to get those. And then I'm probably going to get more to see if I can do a custom.
Right.
So yes, I've spoken. Do it. All
Shall
right.
be.
So,
All right, Tomas, it's your turn to pick. What are we talking about tonight?
all right. I want to do Masters of the Universe. There was no proper lead into that. I
Yes.
just want to do He-Man and the Masters of the Universe as today's topic.
I like it.
I like it.
Tom has the power.
It is a hallmark of the generation that the toy companies have latched onto.
Yes.
And realized they can just sell us the same thing over and over and over and over and over.
And I'm grateful for it.
I will gladly purchase it over and over and over and over. Yeah. What was your first Masters of the Universe figure?
Masters of the Universe came into the house. Now, my older brother Derek was usually the one who would move us forward from one set of toys to the next.
Mm-hmm.
Like I think I mentioned before, like he always had, you know, the toys that were sort of off the beaten path where my younger brother and I were. You know what I mean? He
Mm-hmm.
would show up with a werewolf or a dragon and rewrite the canon that we were existing in, which was great because then we'd move forward. So when He-Man came into the house, I believe He-Man was first, as always, and then it might have been Man-at-Arms. So I'm pretty sure it's He-Man. And but we were still playing like G.I. Joe at the time. So He-Man was a monster. And that power punch, like that turning waist power punch, man, he would knock the bejesus out of the G.I. Joe guys. Because that was one of those battlematic actions that was actually cool. Yeah. Because it didn't interrupt the play. Like you could still move his arms, you know, like we looked at that Superman with the goofy, you know, thing when you squeeze his legs, like, but you couldn't like, you were afraid if you moved the arm separately that you would break the device.
Yeah,
you know. And I actually, when I originally got the superpowers guys as a kid, I would purposely try to break the mechanism so that I didn't have it anymore.
And even if you managed to do that, it got a little bit annoying because now the arms were floppy.
Yeah, they have floppy arms. But the He-Man one didn't get in the way of play, and it had some rock'em sock'em to it, and like you could knock a G.I. Joe Jeep over. Like you might not flip it, but you would move it off its course. So, you know, He-Man, of course, would bust up on them, and that's how we got introduced. Yeah.
In your canon, was He-Man like a giant under the control of Skeletor, or? Well,
no, he was just the strongest man in the universe. So he was buff, you know, because when they first came out, the show hadn't started yet. If I remember correctly, the show started in like 83, right? Because they had to do all there was like things they had to do, right? Like He-Man hit the market before the show, if I remember correctly.
I don't remember if the toy line was simultaneous with the show.
Because I remember the toys came out like I know there's a whole history of how they started in the 70s, and it was a Conan thing and yada yada.
You might be right, because that original wave of He-Man came out
it was the end of 81, beginning of 82, wasn't it?
Yeah, and then if I'm remembering right, the whole like Toys That Made Us special on it, which again, everyone, if you have not watched Toys That Made Us, go in and watch it. I think Masters of the Universe is like the first episode.
Yeah, I think the toys ran from like 82 to 88.
Yeah, because Prince Adam didn't come until a later wave, and I think if they knew what Filmation was doing before Filmation did what they did, they would have made Prince Adam part of the initial offering. So yeah, so the toy line probably popped up first, and then if we're completely wrong, feel free to let us know. I'm going to throw up the socials now. You can let us know at Two Guys Talking Toys, the number 2, no G after the talking, or send us an angry rant via Gmail. Also, Two Guys Talking Toys, the number 2, no G after the talking.
Because I want to say in 81 we got He-Man, Skeletor, Man-at-Arms, and Battle Cat, because Battle Cat was a repaint of a Big Jim. Like Big Jim keeps coming up. Because the original prototypes were Big Jim guys, right? There was the Tank Head and the Spaceman and the Barbarian, right? But they were all like refabricated Big Jim figures to pitch He-Man, if I remember correctly. And then like Zoar and Screech were also big Jim thievery.
Yeah, there was a lot of repurposing that went on.
Yeah, they were like the eagle of, it was something really cheesy, like a children's, like one of those mystery novels, like the eagle of Danger Point, or like for Big Jim, they were like the eagle of something coast or something. I don't know.
Something I have completely forgotten. Where did Terron come? Was Terron also part of Big Jim, or was that from a different toy line?
No, that was Action Joe something. Oh gosh.
Okay, so that's not something Mattel would
No,
have
it wasn't
had
Big
access
Jim.
to.
No.
Because like looking at Terron, does he not look like he belongs on Eternia?
Yes,
Like he looks like,
or with the Sectors, but
yeah, he
yeah.
looks like the father of the Dragon Walker.
Yes, he does. Absolutely.
Which I
They're like,
love.
okay, Terron's
Just,
too much of a bad dude for us to tame, but we're gonna make a Dragon Walker just like him. But I want to say 81, we got that initial line, and then in 82, we got Tila and Merman and some of the others, maybe Ram Man. But I want to say 81, the figures came out. In 83, we got the show, because the show didn't run very long, like 83 to 85 or something.
No, it didn't go for that long, and then She-Ra ran off after that.
Right.
My first He-Man figure, I did not have. I had different toys growing up. Like we've talked about it before. A lot of
you had the mishmash.
Yeah, a lot of my early toys were just like generic dinosaurs. And I loved them to death. And then we had it was like I think I had, was it a birthday party? The first He-Man figure I ever got was given as a gift. And I want to say it was from someone in like one of my early classes as a birthday gift. But it was further along in the line. Like I was aware of He-Man, I just didn't have any of the product. And I got Spike-Or. Was
really far in.
Yeah, that was my first first like He-Man figure.
84, right? Like
yeah,
he was way out.
Yeah, so like I was aware of the show and I watched it and I liked it, but I never had any of the figures because it was not something that we could kind of afford at the time. So getting Spark, I was like, this is super cool. And I didn't know that he was an urchin or if he was a porcupine or whatever, but I loved
had acne, you didn't know.
Yeah, he was. I loved the weird like rubbery texture of the spikes on him. I loved the spiky armor that he had, and I loved the trident that he had until because you could have him rear back and the waist action would have him slap people with his trident until it broke. But even though it broke, the extending arm just became a skewer. And I was like, this is kind of better.
Nice. Yeah, that's
having
cool.
a trident. Now Spike-Or is extra deadly because now he just has one giant spike coming out of his arm. He's terrifying. Don't go near him. But after I got Spike-Or, then like kind of the floodgates opened. My aunt actually gave me a whole bunch of He-Man figures that she'd acquired, and it was just this deluge of all these figures that I had never seen before, and it was older figures, so I almost got like a maybe not a full complete collection, but I got a lot of He-Man figures, nice. And it was like I don't know how
there were a bunch
like work, but
I want to say by the end there were probably I don't know. I want to say 50 characters, 50 different figures anyway, or more. Maybe around 50 to 70 figures.
Yeah, and that was where I got Ratlor and realized that because I had seen the commercial and I had really wanted them, but it just wasn't kind of in the cards financially speaking. But once I got this collection, it was all these figures with all these different gimmicks. So I had like gimmick overload with all these different characters doing all this different stuff with like Jitsu and Fisto and such. There was a Christmas where I got 4 He-Man figures. I remember I got Jitsu, Cyclone, Moss Man, and Cobra Khan. Yes, it was Cobra Khan.
Yeah, so you did jump on late.
Yeah, I jumped on the bandwagon later than most people, but I loved it, and it was so much fun to like take Moss Man out and throw him in the grass and be like, well,
he lost him.
so much for that.
I remember the Christmas. Speaking of Christmas and He-Man, I remember waking up and walking into the living room, and Castle Grayskull was there, but the box was huge at the time. When I was a little kid, and it wasn't even wrapped. It was like, oh, so awesome. It was even too big to wrap, and I could see my dad, like my mom wrapping away, my dad doing his thing, and then it's late or early, and my dad being like, "Oh, no, we're not wrapping that. That's stupid.
Just leave it out there."
Right. But I was so like, that was the first thing I saw when I walked out. I was like, Grayskull. It was fantastic.
I had a similar experience.
And it was for all of us. It was a gift to all of me and my two brothers. It wasn't specifically for any of us. It was Grayskull was for us to play with, to unite us.
To bring you all together in peace and harmony. And I'm sure that happened. I'm sure there were no arguments over who got to use Grayskull, and everyone was happy.
Right. That's exactly what happened. We sang songs while we assembled it. It was great.
That was one of the upsides to being the only boy in my family. I didn't have to share the quote unquote boy toys with my sisters because they had no interest.
Right.
The experience that you had with Grayskull and seeing it just sitting out there for Christmas was the same experience that I had, except in my case, it was
Hive, right? Yep.
Yes. Coming out, seeing that. And since it was scaled for sectors, the He-Man figures, like it looked like it was so much more dangerous for them because they were just a little bit smaller than the sectors. So them running up and like getting on the steps and being eaten by Nar, who up until recently, I thought the name of that creature was Monster Nar. It's not. The monster's name is Nar. But in the commercial, the guy says something like, "Beware the Vipex and the Monster Nar." And I was like, oh, the Monster Nar. That's his name.
I like Monster Nar much better than Nar.
I thought he was called.
Monster Nar.
Yeah.
I love it.
And then later, years later, and by years, I mean up to maybe a few months ago, I realized that the name of the creature is Nar.
That's how it was when, last week at Superman, when I was talking about the Jor-El figure, thinking it was Mxyzptlk. It was like just not long ago. And I realized that was Jor-El. In fact, so much so that when my younger brother gave that to me and sent it to me, he wanted me to get excited that he had found the Mxyzptlk from when we were young. And he had written it backwards on the thing. And I was like, oh my God. And then I found out it was Jor-El. And I was like, oh.
Sadness.
Yeah, all right.
All your efforts were for naught.
What, what's funny, and I know the story of, first off, you were talking about the gimmicks. And I remember getting the He-Man, and then they had the comic book, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, and I just wanted to go for the toys, right? And then you got Skeletor, and the fact that they had two halves of the power sword that could be connected together fascinated me. And when I realized that, I was like, I got to find out why. Get me that comic book guy, right? So I did that, and then getting Grayskull and realizing that the swords connected then acted literally as the key that you could stick in the keyhole of the door and slide the lock. And then the whole story became real. Like, you didn't even have to pretend anymore. Skeletor and He-Man wanted the two halves of the sword so that one of them could open Grayskull. Which would stink because that meant you couldn't play with Grayskull until you figured that out. But like it was so real. Like, that gimmick and that story was genius. The connecting swords to open Grayskull was fantastic. I loved that. I never used it as a storyline, but because I wanted to use Grayskull, right?
I wish that they had been able to introduce that into the show. Because it was never, it was, and the show,
it was never part of the show.
Yeah, like the show was fun. The show was fun for what it was. We got all kinds of great like sayings out of it, and Skeletor is awesome. But I do kind of wish that played into the story a little bit more, because that raised the stakes. So I not only do I have to stop you from being evil, I also need that sword you have
right
in order
not
to get into Grayskull.
Kick your butt. I have to steal your junk. And
Yeah.
that's what we're gonna do. You know what's funny about the gave us great quotes? Jared and I watched He-Man a lot when he was
Mhm.
growing up, and we always hated the one to grow on at the end. And
Oh,
then
those are great.
Orko would say something ridiculous, and He-Man put his hands on his hips like,
You dummy.
right. Well, we always every time someone would say something corny, Jared and I would do our best man at arms laugh, and then Ed at the end of it we'd go, "That's rich."
I always thought Man at Arms was hilarious. Not only because of all the weird situations he would just find himself in, but the Burt Reynolds mustache really really put it
awesome.
over the top.
It's great.
When was it established that he and the sorceress had a thing? Was that the
Not in the
original
original
show?
series. I think no, it wasn't in
They
the original thing.
Okay.
It was 2000X, wasn't it? That cartoon?
Yeah, for some reason I always thought it came from something earlier.
I mean, they did say that Tila was his daughter.
Mhm.
I don't remember what the storyline was for her mom. So maybe it was in the original. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't remember it.
So did you collect any of New Adventure He-Man? Because when that show
The
came
Tony
out,
Robbins one with the ponytail?
yes, when that popped up, I was done. I
I
enjoyed She-Ra, and then
right.
New Adventures appeared, and I was like, what is happening? Why is Grayskull in space, and why doesn't it look like Grayskull?
Yeah, it was horrible. But I
What's
did like Optic, the eyeball guy.
Mhm.
He was cool. The He-Man that looked like Tony Robbins was just silly. But and there was no Skeletor, right?
I think he was in it, but he had like a weird techno thing. His eyes were huge, and he had pupils now.
Mhm.
A lot of almost like Looney Tune style takes from him with like the rattling jaw and the whole. Yeah, it was pretty
Right.
silly.
Yeah, it was silly.
Now that being said, the Masterverse version of New Adventure Skeletor really cool. I'll get
Right.
him. I mean, I picked up New Adventures He-Man when he went on clearance, but New Adventures Skeletor, the new version of him, looks really great. I ever seen pictures of him when he was shown off, I think at like San Diego Comic Con last year.
Hmm.
And all the detailing on him looks like all that techno detailing as if he's been infected. Which actually kind of leads me into. Now, you know what? I'll keep to the timeline.
All right.
The,
You were
the,
gonna jump to
the,
Revelations, weren't you?
I was, because I like where they're going with that. But we'll stick to the timeline. We'll jump from there to the
In my
2000
head,
series.
the timeline, I
Mhm.
didn't even have that He-Man, the Tony Robbins guy. Like
Yeah, no, it was something that was kind of better left forgotten.
I should stop saying Tony Robbins, right?
He's gonna sue us.
Yeah.
His estate's gonna come after us.
Honey, I'm saying he looks like He-Man. That can't be bad.
Yeah, they'll still sue us. They just won't be sure if they should be upset or not. They're like, well, you keep referencing us. We don't like that. But why are you referencing us? And then they'll sit you down and tell you why you should like yourself.
I could use that.
Tony Robbins He-Man is here. You have the power.
Yes, that's his message. Perfect.
So the 2000 series, I remember when that was announced. I remember when it came out, and I remember watching the first episode, and I was like, holy cow, it's the reaction that I later had to the Netflix Voltron series and the Nickelodeon Ninja Turtles series. I remember watching the first couple of episodes and saying, this is as cool as I remember He-Man being.
Yeah, I'd like that they like started out with the original opening and then ticked into Nitro,
I love that there was sword play. I love that the characters' powers were scaled up, and it made sense within the realm of the show. I like that villains were dangerous. I like that evil. You know what? Evil Lyn was always a threat, and I always liked that even in the original series, where for all of its goofiness and silliness, they treated Evil Lyn as like a legit threat.
She was the serious. She was the.
And they maintained that in the 2000X series.
I love, now that you mentioned it, like the powers and the sword play. Like the coolest thing about He-Man was, pre-He-Man, I loved Thundar the Barbarian, right? Which was, kind of Star Wars meets Conan, We'd all, you know, and when I saw He-Man, I thought these are the Thundar figures I never had, because not only did it have the swordplay and the sorcery, but it also had the science fiction element, the lasers, the cool vehicles, the flying ships, the whole 9 yards. Like, it had everything a kid could want. It had swords, it had lasers, it had magic, it had muscles. Like, it was everything a kid could want.
I enjoyed the it was clearly done by fans of the original series, and I always loved some of like the jokes. The episode called Mechanek's Lament is one of my all-time favorite episodes, where it's him just being sad about being lame because everyone had Mechanek. No one liked Mechanek.
He was
no one
the
wanted
Aquaman
to use him.
of Masters of the Universe.
Everyone had him. He was silly. He was doofy. It was sad to be him, and I loved that the episode was him saying, you know, Roboto's a cool robot, and Cyclone can make whirlwinds, and I can stretch my neck and look at stuff. And
I get to watch everybody else be cool.
Yeah, and the best part of the episode is they go through the whole rigmarole. They make him believe that he's useful. I don't remember what the thing they had him do was, but they never really resolve it. There's never a point where, like, I don't believe that him stretching his neck saves the day in that episode. They just kind of move on.
They're like, are there any cobwebs up there in the rafters, Mechanek? See how useful you are?
Thanks, Mechanek. Now Cyclone can get rid of those cobwebs. And he's like, I can't even hold like a broom in my mouth and take care of that. It's the worst. And then that would have been a perfect opportunity to through like the 1980s. Oh, Mechanek, and they all throw their heads back and laugh.
That's rich. Not only was the animated 2000X series fantastic, but it also gave us the toy line we wanted as well.
Those figures were great. I got also sculpted by the Four Horsemen.
I still think, I didn't know that, but it makes sense that even the look makes sense now. Thank you for saying that. That's awesome. I didn't know that. Even now, compared to the Revelation guys, pardon me, I still like the 2000X toy series better.
Yeah, I like the. Oh, you like them better than the current current figures? I liked the fact that they were dynamically posed. I always wished for more articulation, but you know, compared to the original series, they technically did have more articulation. But I always thought it was really cool. Like, you could set them in just about any position, and they had this really great dynamic look to them. And you could put them together in a display, and it looked like something was happening from every single angle. And I remember there being weird exceptions. Uh-oh, you have been muted.
Is that better?
Yes.
I think I pressed the button because I had to cough.
Oh,
the way I have to set them up, I like that they look dynamic because, you know, it just looks like a choir. But they look like you said, like something was happening. Even when they were just kind of standing there, they had that kind of look. Yeah.
And they had that.
Not like the Total Justice heroes.
Yeah, they look like they were in pain.
Right.
They're like, if you could please just get me some muscle relaxers, I'd be so grateful.
Or a laxative.
Please.
One or the other.
These were I think the posing was dynamic. The detailing was great. And I also like that they included because they were still going for interactive play. So the Castle Grayskull for that series, I remember being interactive with whatever figures they had the chip technology now. So every figure had the little chip in their foot. So when you put them on Castle Grayskull, it would say like "Welcome Tila" or "Welcome He-Man," and then it would open up. That was really cool. And then I think that went away after like a wave or two. But the 2000X series broke my heart because I loved the toys, and I couldn't find most of them. I
got them in one fell swoop. By the time I found them, they were already on clearance. I didn't even know that they existed, and they were like already on clearance. And I bought everyone I could find in one fell swoop. And then, but like we were discussing when we were in Time Warp, in Lake Grove. Shameless plug. Like Roboto and Clam Champ and those. Like I don't have the Snake Men. I don't have them, and I keep trying to find them. And
you know what? They were fairly limited. I remember them being a surprise when they came out, because like I remember getting the initial wave, and it was such a pain in the tail to find like Tila, to find Evil Lyn, and then the Snake Men series started, and they were offering we were seeing like solicitations for that. And I remember there being I remember visiting a forum, and there was like the sightings thread, and someone mentioned that they found Snake Men figures in Aldi's. I lived in Philadelphia at the time. I was teaching, and there was an Aldi's. It was technically not within walking distance. I had to take a bus to get there, but I could also walk there. And I remember reading this notice, and I was like, holy cow, Snake Men, I gotta go. I walked. Yeah, that was me. I power walked all the way to this Aldi's, and it was worth it. They had Snake Armor He-Man. And that was where I got all the Snake Men from the wave. So I got Ratlore, I got King Hiss. I remember getting Snake Armor Man-at-Arms, Snake Armor He-Man, and seeing Snake Armor, I think it was Snake Armor Mechaneck. And I was like,
Again, poor Mechaneck.
Poor Mechaneck. He gets no respect. I left him there. Years later, I was like, I should probably get Mechaneck to roar to fill out the collection. Not so much. But that was a really fun wave to find. But it was, again, like the secondary characters in the original wave, so hard to get a hold of, because they were the production ideas between Mattel versus distribution and whatever their numbers were. It was almost like they remembered in the original run in the 80s, kids having a hard time finding He-Man and Skeletor.
Right, once they got
into the
3 deep, once we got Merman and all the others, like He-Man and Skeletor were already gone.
So instead, they overcompensated for this line and just gave us tons. And I'm fine with variants of an existing character, but the pegs, I remember like just joke pictures of pegs filled with Spin Blade He-Man and Smash Blade Skeletor, just waves, just walls of them, which was unfortunate, because, and as a customizer, I bought a lot of those. I bought as many as I could. I feel like I did my part to try and clear the ways they could order maybe a Trapjaw. I just want one Trapjaw, please.
The Trapjaw in that line was fantastic.
He was great and had interchangeable parts. I feel like that was like the nice middle ground between the original series and what we have now, where there's a lot of like, remember the old gimmick? Well, you have to do it yourself. But this was the 2000X series was, here's some of the old gimmicks. Some of the old ones are gone, but here's some new ones to play with. And I like
that Triclops had his little the
little drone character
at the stand. Yeah, I mean, cool. Triclops is my favorite, so
he is awesome. All right, so we're about to run out of time, but I'm going to edit this so that we come back and keep going, because I think that we could make this into like a mega episode.
All right, yeah.
Okay, so apologies for kind of having an abrupt ending there to part 1, what is going to now become part 1 of our Masters of the Universe discussion. We are going to continue this in part 2. I will have that loaded this Wednesday. So if you enjoyed the conversation for Masters of the Universe, this unexpectedly became a mega Masters of the Universe episode, part 1, part 2. So part 1 is up today, and part 2 will be up Wednesday. Again, if you would like to get a hold of us and let us know what you think, you can get a hold of us through Twitter on 2 Guys Talking Toys. That is the number 2, no G after the Talkin. If you would like to get a hold of us through Gmail, that is 2 Guys Talking Toys, the number 2, no G after the Talkin. All right, see you Wednesday.